What is going on, you guys? Brandon here, aka Brawadis, and before I start this video, I just want to point out two things. I'm actually not uploading a video on my main channel because a lot of my footage was on my cousin's phone from yesterday's video because I didn't bring my camera. We went to a Fetty Wap concert, so they didn't allow any cameras, only your phone, and Jessica is not answering. She's either at work or asleep, and I've been texting her. She's not answering, so I'm not going to be uploading on my main channel. You guys will be getting that video tomorrow. I also wanted to say happy Easter to everybody out there, not just to you guys watching this video, but say happy Easter to your whole entire family and all your friends from me, because Easter is a family day, and I hope you guys do enjoy your day. And I'm sad that I'm not able to be saying happy Easter on my main channel, but I'm saying it on my NBA channel, so I hope you guys spread the word. And one last thing I want to say before getting into the predictions part of this video: prayers up to Isaiah Thomas and his family. For those who didn't hear, super sad news yesterday. Isaiah Thomas's sister, who was only 22 years old, was killed in a car accident, and I can't even imagine how that must feel for Isaiah, especially right before his playoff series was about to start. And put basketball aside, put the playoff series to the side, that's just in general, that's crazy. She was 22 years old, I'm 21, so kind of being the same age, I feel like you could relate to it more. So just imagining it is just, I don't know, it just proves that life is crazy and anything can happen at any given moment. So that's obviously very sad. That's never news that you want to hear. I feel really bad for Isaiah and his family, so prayers go up to them. That's just very sad, heartbreaking news. When I heard that, I was like, what? I can't even imagine what his family's going through right now. So prayers up to Isaiah Thomas. Oh, and by the way, for people who are going to be saying, oh, why didn't you make a whole video on Isaiah Thomas's sister about her death? Well, for two reasons. One, because I would obviously turn the monetization off on that video, meaning I would not be making any money off that video. I would never make money off somebody's death. But there are still going to be people out there who would say, oh, he made a video and is getting money off somebody's death, you know, fuck Brandon, fuck Brawadis, which would not be the case, but people would still be saying that. And second, because I feel like me, you know, titling a video Isaiah Thomas's sister dead, I just feel like that's disrespectful. Like, if I had a whole video where the thumbnail was like Isaiah Thomas and his sister and the title was Isaiah Thomas's sister passed away, I just feel like that it's not my job. That's disrespectful of me to do, because that's not my job. I'm a YouTuber. That my job is not to make whole videos about people's deaths. And you know, me giving prayers up to Isaiah Thomas in a video, a short clip, or me sending out a tweet, that's fine. But I just feel like making a whole video on it, I feel like that's disrespectful. So before anybody hits me with, oh, you're so rude, why wouldn't you dedicate a whole video to that? I just felt like, in my opinion, it would be disrespectful to make a whole video and bring that attention about somebody's death. I wouldn't do that about somebody I don't personally know. Okay, so for one, I want to apologize because I did not wake up early enough to get my Wizards and Hawks prediction done. And so I still will be doing a prediction video for that series, but it's going to be after the first game. But for those wondering, I'm not letting the first game affect my results. I'm not letting it change. And I wish I had it written down somewhere so you guys could believe me, but that's going to be on you guys to trust me. I forgot the game was at 10 in the morning, 10 a.m., so I didn't have time to wake up and make the video. But today's video is not about the Wizards and Hawks. Today's video is about the Bulls and Celtics. I really like this matchup as the 1-8. Usually the 1-8 are really boring. You know, blowouts, sweeps. I really feel like we're going to be getting a series with this matchup. I feel like the Bulls and Celtics is going to be funner to watch than if it was Bulls and Cavs or if it was Heat and Celtics. I feel like this matchup is kind of gifted to us. I'm sure you guys remember a couple years back, you know, when Joakim Noah and Derrick Rose and Taj Gibson were on the Bulls and the Celtics had that super team. We saw this matchup, the Bulls and Celtics, and that was one of the greatest playoff series I have ever witnessed. I'm not saying there's going to be anything like that. Obviously, two completely different teams and very different rosters. But I'm just saying these two teams have a history of playoff battles, and I just can't wait. I think I'm going to get into the Celtics first. The Celtics, props to them. They came out and snagged the first seed away from Cleveland. They did the unthinkable. Everybody thought Cleveland had the first seed locked up, and Boston comes out of nowhere and takes that first seed away. So obviously, props to Boston. I think they pick up the identity of their head coach, and Brad Stevens is a great head coach. You look at Boston, yes, they have Isaiah Thomas, yes, they have Al Horford, but they're not as stacked as other #1 seeds in the past. I mean, look at the Warriors, look at the Cavs. These two teams have tons and tons of talent and tons of players. Boston, they don't have that type of individual player talent, but what they do is they play as a team. Like I said, they pick up the identity of their head coach, and I think that's what makes them so great. They are the true definition of a team. They play D, they pass the ball, they can shoot, they can drive. I like Boston. They obviously have problems rebounding the ball. Their center, Al Horford, averages, I don't know, I think it's 6 rebounds a game, and Avery Bradley, who's their shooting guard, matches Al Horford's rebounding numbers, who's a center. So obviously they have some problems attacking the glass, they have some problems grabbing the boards, and they tried to fix that up at the trade deadline, but whatever, didn't happen. With as good of a team as Boston is all around, I don't think the rebounding is going to hurt them as much as it would for another team. Obviously, you guys know Isaiah Thomas, former Phoenix Sun player, so I know a lot about him. He is all heart, all hustle. You can't knock him. He will get to the rim if he wants to. I don't care how short he is. If he wants to score the ball, he's going to score the ball. He's a really, really good player, obviously an all-star this past season, and you can't knock him. He's my height, and he's doing these kind of things in the NBA. You just got to respect that. Like I said, Jay Crowder, Avery Bradley, Marcus Smart, they've got a very, very tough team, defensive-minded team, and I think that's what a playoff battle is all about. Playoffs, it doesn't come down to how many points you can score. Playoffs come down to half-court defense, how many stops can you get in the crunch time, and I like what they're doing over there in Boston. Now you go to Chicago, who had kind of a, actually, let's not even sugarcoat it. They had a weird season. No, actually it traces back from just the regular season. It traces all the way back to the offseason when everybody thought they would rebuild, but then they go out and they sign Wade. And then they go out and they sign Rajon Rondo, and you're just like, wait, weren't they gonna rebuild after trading Derrick Rose and getting rid of Joakim Noah? It's like, what are they doing? So then you kind of talk yourself into, okay, D Wade, Jimmy Butler, Rondo. Okay, this is going to be a top 3, top 4 team in the East. You kind of talk yourself into it. Halfway through the season, nope, that was not happening. This team kind of imploded. They had a lot of locker room drama, a lot of problems on that team, and somehow they still ended up making the playoffs. But I'm happy with it because I want to see Jimmy Butler and Dwayne Wade in the playoffs. I also want to see Rondo in the playoffs. These are players who, they're vets. They have a lot of experience. So something could happen in the regular season like the drama or a bunch of bad play, but in the playoffs, these players are vets, so they could turn it up at any given moment, and I can't wait to see that. Like I said, I feel like Boston and Chicago is going to be a really, really good 1-8 matchup. You don't typically get teams that talented playing in a 1-8. Now, obviously, Boston is the much better team all around, but Chicago is actually a really good rebounding team, so I think they're going to give Boston some trouble on the boards. Like I said, they have the individual talent. Jimmy Butler, Dwayne Wade, and even Rondo, he has some of his games where you're like, oh shit, this is the Boston Celtics Rondo. They don't come around much too often anymore. He's kind of fallen off as that type of player, but he still has some flashes of the old Rajon Rondo. You have clutch Gene and Jimmy Butler, and Dwayne Wade has more experience by himself than the whole entire Boston Celtic team. More playoff experience from one player, D Wade, than the entire Celtics roster. Now, let me get down to the prediction part. So like I said, these two teams battled it out in the playoffs a couple years ago. And I mean battled. Crazy playoff series. I can only hope that this is a mirror image of what's going to happen this year, which I doubt anything can match that. But I just hope. Boston, they do have the pressure of being the #1 seed. I'm not going to lie. When you haven't won a playoff series with this, because Boston with this current core, you know, Isaiah Thomas and Jay Crowder, Avery Bradley, Marcus Smart, and obviously the newly added Al Horford, they haven't won a playoff series together yet. Or let me exclude Al Horford because it's his first year here. That team has not won a playoff series yet. So now not only are you're expected to win a playoff series, but you're the #1 seed. You're expected to go farther than that. And I think it's going to be a test to see how does Boston handle this pressure. Because there's a big difference whether if you're 2nd seed or 3rd seed, there's much less pressure than if you're #1. And I think Boston, yes, they're a young team. Yes, they don't have too much playoff experience, and yeah, they haven't won a playoff series, but I think, like I said, they pick up the identity of their head coach. And I like Brad Stevens. So I think Boston's going to take this series. However, facing Chicago, who has Jimmy Butler, D Wade, Rondo, you know, even Robin Lopez attacking the glass. You know, they don't shoot the 3-ball too well, but this is playoff basketball. When you have players like D Wade and Jimmy Buckets, you have players who could take over the game at any given moment. So I think this series is going to be a longer series. I think Chicago is really going to test Boston. I actually think they're going to scare them a little bit. I feel like this series might end up being tied 2-2 going into game 5. And I think it's going to be a long series. At least 6 games, if not 7. I don't think Boston sweeps, and I don't think Boston wins it in 5. I think Chicago has what it takes. I don't want to say to knock off Boston, because you hardly ever see an 8 knock off the number 1. But I feel like they're going to put a little scare into Boston. But at the end of the day, like I said earlier, Boston just has the better team all around. They have the better constructed team from top to bottom. And I'm going to go, I want to say Boston in 7, but Boston in 6, Boston in 7. I don't know. I can't make up my mind. I'm going to go ahead and say Boston in 6. I could see Isaiah closing it out in Chicago, on Chicago's home floor. I could see that happening. So I'll go Boston in 6. But like I said, don't be surprised if this matchup is really, really close. And don't be surprised if the games are really intense. Like I said, I feel like it's going to be 2-2 heading into game 5. And I'm really excited to see this one. I'm excited that the Bulls got matched up with the Celtics instead of the Cavs, or the Bulls got matched up with the Celtics instead of Pacers and Celtics, because I love this matchup. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I really do hope you guys enjoyed. And for the last time, Happy Easter. Yeah, Chicago was a really bad regular season team. I'm not going to lie. They had a lot of issues. But for whatever reason, I feel like these players are going to step up in the playoffs. Unfortunately, they were the 8th seed, so they're going to get matched up with Boston, who's a good team. So I don't think they're going to take them down. But like I said, do not be surprised to see Jimmy Butler hit some clutch shots. Do not be surprised to see D Wade take over some games. Don't be surprised to see Rondo show some flashes of his days in Boston. And I feel like this team's going to step up in the playoffs. But Boston, they're a good team. Number 1 seed for a reason. I think they're going to advance.